Okay. So there's a problem. We run it. It plays. I hit start. It's still going. Don't like that. Because we need the music to stop when we hit start. Because we need it to start playing what other type of music we're going to be using. So that's why we put it in those channels. That's why we use this start channel, because once you throw it in that channel, once you put it in that player, the MP3 player, the CD player, whatever, you can now hit start, stop, pause. You can do all that stuff. So to stop the music, we use the start channel. And you just say stop. Like that. So up here, you're telling the start channel to play. Down here, you're telling it to stop.
Did you get an error message for that?
Bam. Nope, but it worked though. If you're getting an error, check and see what line it's on. Like I'm going to misspell stop here and run it. Let's see what we get. Yeah, whenever you have issues with your code, you'll get these compiler errors to show up. Usually what it says doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Call the possibly undefined method, well, I mean, this kind of helps us. Undefined method stow through a reference with static type, blah, blah, blah. All I know is it'd be nice if these companies would hire actual people who speak English to write out their error codes, but they don't. The errors are just bleh. But the cool thing is, though, you can double click these errors and it'll take you to the line where the issue is happening. So I double click the error, it highlights here, so at least I know, okay, the error is at least on this line or somewhere close to it. Usually, not always, but usually. So I can look at it and go, oh, okay, I misspelled stop, cool. Save it, export it again. Happy days, no errors. Okay, then it stops.
See,
Yeah, it's not a misspelling.
yeah, same here.
I start music, it's not misspelled or anything.
What's it saying?
It's line 12, column 27. Call to possibly undefined method start music.
Yeah, same one.
All right, so what's start music? Where's this coming from? We got to think this through. If it's saying your method start music is undefined, then that's telling you I don't know what start music is. So what is it? Where's start music coming from? Why the crap did I use start music?
You had to put in the parentheses?
Parentheses do need to be there, yeah, for it to work. Yeah. What Elliot said.
It's what?
The linkage. Right? That's where it's pulling it from. That's why I have to export it for ActionScript so I can call it. So if it's saying start music isn't defined, then there's a chance that your linkage.
Mine says that.
Does yours say start music or does it say something different?
No, it says start music and I named it. Is it because I named the item start music with capital N as well?
Shouldn't matter, but whatever linkage says here, it needs to be in here.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's the same. That's why I'm confused.
I might be confused too. Let's take a look.
When you did that earlier, right?
F9?
Change it, put it to yes.
Yeah, but I just want to make sure that it's working.
Still sore. No sore.
Okay, run it again. See what it says. Command enter.
I'm tired.
That's what I read that from.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, so when the music stops, that's when this will go away. Right?
When you hit start, it should stop. It does. You're messing with me.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's cool though.
I started dreaming that I was still
Just welcome to
awake.
Flash sometimes.
So I thought I was
Can you help me with mine?
like I thought I was here. I woke up 9:30. I was like, oh shit.
I think maybe I'm having.
I dreamt that I was here. Let me see, what'd you get for your birthday?
I want that cash.
Wait, no, that's from Jody.
From your library.
He got me a Ninja blender.
Oh,
It's just a ball.
did he like his?
Okay, really good music.
Yeah, I do. This is all it was all in my phone.
You want one?
Don't worry about renaming or anything, we just changed it up here. So it's new music instead of new start.
I'm fine. I don't
Your
need
linkage
it.
lowercase down.
Dude, you have two new teams.
So whatever your linkage says, that's what you
What do I even do? I don't even know that it was me.
Did you right click Ruby properties?
Way too high right
And then
now.
you would add the script,
And
right?
everyone keeps like harassing me.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what left. Either you put that in there or that's what it chose. I don't know. Usually it chooses the exact same thing that you named it, but in this case it was me.
And then those are all effective, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to save my battery.
And I don't actually.
Oh shit.
No, we're loading it with the code, we're not playing it.
That's right. Oh, don't know what that is.
And hit start and make sure it stops. That's awesome.
Alright, thank you.
So that's really it for the start page. You got some information up there. You have the event listener. I did. My wife chopped my hair off.
My mom does to my hair.
It was awesome. 'Cause I hate having to comb my hair.
I'm really sorry that I'm always late, but to be fair, I did dream that I was here. So I thought it was here.
Candace. What's up with Candace? All right, we ready? So yeah, that's it. I think for the start, that's going to be easy enough. The game screen is obviously going to be a little crazier, but the end screen is going to be very similar to this. So actually, I think I'm going to head over there next. Is the end screen. We'll do the two easy screens first to kind of ease you into this beastly code, and then the game screen will get a little crazier. So head back to the timeline. I'm going to grab my background. I'm going to throw it in the same spot here. Okay, now look, I'm playing with the end screen. So I'm on the end screen keyframe here. Oops.
So what?
So you're going to put that on the background layer. There we go. Lock that. So now I'm on the dead screen, the end screen.
Why would it let me? Oh, I think it might be a symbol.
Throw it in their face that they're dead.
Is it Christmas?
Sure. So we gotta think, what do we need? Same thing kind of that we had before. We need a, this is up to you, but I'm gonna have a start over button and a replay button. So like try again. And then start over, I guess.
And you kept that on the end. Okay, after you did.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Tell me what to do. What do I do next? Let's see if you guys are paying attention.
Don't you need to go into one of the buttons and then make an active area?
I don't know. Do I have a button?
Oh, well, you have to create a
Oh,
button
yeah, right.
to modify.
So I'm gonna create those buttons. How do I create the buttons? What's the hotkey for that?
Function F8.
F8 or a function F8. Good job. So this will be try again and F8. Start over.
I forgot. Do you have to make like? Do you have to do any capitals or anything like that?
Not on the names that they have in the library. So what you name them in here really doesn't matter. Now, what I name them as the instance name in here in properties, that is very important. But what they're named here inside the library, now it doesn't really matter that much.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So in the library, if you try and organize your stuff and like put all your buttons in one folder and everything, with you moving them into folders, that doesn't alter anything, right?
No,
Okay.
that won't screw anything up. It's not like HTML and CSS where when you move things, yeah, that will screw things up. No, it doesn't matter in here. All right, so I'm going to double click and do exactly what I did with my other buttons. So my overstate, I'm not going to mess with. My downstate, I will make it that purple color again to just stay semi whatever it's called. Keep everything kind of the same here. So down is going to be purple. Then on the hit states, you gotta draw those squares again. Doesn't matter what color, just matters that they cover the area that you want to be the button. So double click, click on the hit, and drag the square. Now, of course, this is going to be for a phone, so you need to make sure these areas are big enough to where our chunky fingers can fit over them. You don't want something too small to where you might accidentally click on something. So I'm going to kind of move them a little bit just to give them some space.
Did you insert a keyframe for the hit part?
I did, yeah. When you go in there, you hit F6 on all of these, you put keyframes on all of them. Yeah, you have to have a keyframe in these different states to have them work. So yes, I went in there and inserted a keyframe and over, down, and hit, even though I'm not doing anything for over. And like I said, I'd focus right now on just getting the functionality to work, and then later on you can go back in and mess with all the and just make, you know, pretty it up, right? Make it look better. For now, I just focus on the functionality because that's all just code. That's just technical stuff. Once you get that working, then you can go in there and, like, you know, make it look better and mess with the layout some more or whatever. That's just me. You know, do it how you want to. All right, so I made them buttons. I did the up, over, down, and hit states on both. Now what? Yes, instance names. So I guess I'll call this, I'll just call it again. Then start over, I'll just say SO for start over. Again, if you want to force yourself to learn this, one of the things you can do, make sure your instance names are different than mine. Make sure your linkage names are different than mine. That will force you to not zombie code. But I have yet to find a way to force you to not zombie code. Maybe one day. Very cool. So I got these two buttons, instance names, did the hit states. Yeah, now what? What are you talking about? Yeah. Now remember, you can only code in keyframes. So I'm going to have to add another keyframe here. F6, function F6, and now I'm going to put the code in here. So that's how it's going to kind of work, is all the code in here will mess with everything on frame 1. All the code in here is going to mess with everything on frame 10. And I should probably come over here and do F6 as well, because I got to write code for the game screen as well. So now I need to go in here and start coding everything. It's going to be very, very similar to this, but there's going to be a little bit more.
So this is due in 2 weeks?
I think we're going to take at least 3.
Okay.
The Flappy game that's on there, I don't think we're going to do that, because last quarter I kind of liked how we did it.
It's kind of like the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, this gives you more time to mess with the game and make it your own and kind of be creative with it. Where the and plus, you can be a lot more creative on a game like this than you can with the Flappy game. With the Flappy game, all your games are going to be the same, except for you're going to have different guys flapping and different types of pipes and stuff. You know, but this, it's like, no, the creativity can be a lot more in depth, I think. So, so at least 3. We'll talk, 3 weeks from now, and if you guys need an extra week or so, we can probably do that. That's kind of what we did last quarter, and I liked how that turned out.
So my music won't import to my library.
Elliot was having the same issue. So you can't do file import?
Yeah.
Can you click and drag? That worked for Elliot. So open up the folder, like basically have you want the library open like this, and then find the MP3 in a folder, and then just click and drag it into the library. That should work. And then once it's in, right click, properties, ActionScript, export, hit OK. if you haven't, okay. All right, so I got to code out the buttons, and I need to make sure that the right music plays. Almost exactly what we did before. So I'll set up the music first. And I'm going to see if the import statements come in for us, which I think they will. So I'm going to have a variable called endplay. Again, I just kind of made that up.
How do you get a new one?
A new what?
A new, for like a new, like action scene, like blank document.
Do an F6.
F
But, sorry. Yeah, make a keyframe above
Oh.
where your label is.
No, not in there. Okay. Let me refresh it. Oh, thank you.
Heck yeah.
Sorry, thanks.
No worries, I can retire. You guys are getting it. This is awesome. Okay, so variable endplay. We got to, oh, sorry, we got to give it a sound type, just like we did before. Oh, look at that. It threw in media sound for us. Happy days. Okay, new. Now, the music I'm going to use for this is end music. Right, so I got to right click that, properties, action script, export for action script, hit OK. So what do I put here? In my project, what am I going to say here? Yes. Because that is what the linkage is. Does not care what the name is, but usually the linkage is based off the name, so that's why they're the same. But exporting it for ActionScript allows you to call it in the ActionScript and have it play and work. All right, so I've created basically the MP3, the cassette, the CD, whatever. Now I need to create the player, just like we did before. I'm going to call it end channel. It's going to be a sound channel. Imported there. And it's going to be a new sound channel. Now, I'm sure you've noticed, but Flash color codes things, so that's really good. That can help you to see if you're doing things right. All the built-in commands that Flash just recognizes, like import and var and new, those are called keywords. They're all purple. Well, I would call it purple. So, and then you got the blue things that have to do with the other types of commands that it does. So it just helps you to make sure that you're typing in everything right. That was weird. All right, so then end channel equals end play dot play. So just like what we did before. Okay, we don't really have a way to test this right now, because if we test it, it takes us to the start frame. We have a button that takes us to the game frame, but we don't have a button that takes us to end. So Yeah, we probably want to test that because we really don't want to move on until we know that this is working. So I got to come back over here to start, and I basically just need to create a button that will take me to the end screen. And I just want to do this quickly. I don't really care because this isn't going to be in my final game. I'll just call it end. This is more for just testing purposes. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I just did a bunch of times. But I don't really care about a rollover. I am going to care about a hit state though, because I need to make sure that I can click on it and it's easy to click on. So I'm going to call it end. Come up here in the code, and I'm just going to copy and paste this. I know that's horrible. I never should do that, but I'm going to do it. Because this is just a button I want to make as possible just to test that my end screen's working. So I got to change the instance name, end. The function is going to be end game. So I got to change that to end game.
How did you get that?
How'd I get what?
That code so fast.
That's copied and pasted. But this is what we created at the beginning of the class. So all I did is I grabbed the start button's code, and I just copied and pasted it because it's going to be exactly the same. I just want it to go to the end screen. I'm doing this so when I export, when I run, I have a way to get to the end screen because right now I didn't. I only had the start button that took me to the game screen, and that was it. But right now I'm creating the end screen, so I got to make sure I can get over there to test it. Okay, and it's working. So when I click end, it starts the beginning music, heads over here, and then it loads the sad you died music. Okay, right now these don't do anything, but they will. So again, went to that first frame, copy and pasted the start button code, and I threw it in there. I can get rid of this, don't need that. And that's just so I can access the end screen. This is going to go away. When I'm done with the game, this will just go away because, well, really when I start coding the game and we start dying and such, I'm not going to need it anymore.
Is there any way you could go back?
There's totally a way I could go back.
So you just added, did you add something? Or
What I did is I went to the main screen, the beginning, and I created a new button called end.
okay.
And I gave it the instance name of end. And then I went into my code and I coded that out. So I got my start button here. I have the code for my start button. Goes to the game screen, stops the music. Now I have my end button right here, and I coded that end button out as well. And it's exactly the same as this, except for I changed the instance names and function names and things. So end is the instance name of the button. I added an event listener to it. The event was the mouse click. It runs the function end game. Function end game. It's an event. And I go to and stop the end screen this time. And I stop the music. Like I said, I'm only doing that so I can test this end screen to make sure that it's working. Because right now I don't currently have a way to go to it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right, so now I have again, and I have SO. So I got to code those out now. So again, dot add event listener. Mouse event dot click.
And that's whatever our try again.
Yep, it's the try again. Yeah, try whatever your instance name for the try again button is. Yep. So I'm going to have it run a function called try again. Function try again. Got to pass in that it's an event. Now remember with functions, all the code that the function is going to run needs to be inside of these curly brackets. If it's outside, it won't run when the function runs. It'll just run when you load the thing, when you load the animation, game, whatever. So this is try again. So it's going to say go to and stop my game screen because I'm trying again. The end channel needs to stop playing. I don't want the end music to be playing anymore. And that's it. And then almost exactly the same thing for the other one. Crap, I already forgot what I called it. Start. Now hopefully it works. I don't know. We'll see. Good. So when I hit try again, it should take me to the game screen and it should stop this music. Okay, perfect. That's what I wanted. I got to close out of it to test the other one. Okay, now when I hit start over, it should take me back to the home screen. Stop the music, got to the start screen, played the music. So cool. This is functioning exactly how I want it to so far. Again, comment. That's how you write notes. Comment out your code. The other great thing about comments, well, there's a bunch. I mean, first of all, it helps you, right? It helps you remember it when you look at it later on. But also, why do you think you take notes during lectures? Because it forces you to process what they're talking about, internalize it, and then translate it into something on a paper or on a computer as you're typing out notes. It's the same thing. You can't comment and say what this is doing if you don't know what it's doing. So it's going to kind of force you to process the code and look at it line by line and know what's going on. Cool thing is some of this stuff is pretty dang obvious what this line does. Okay, well obviously that goes to and stops on the frame called start. Okay, but up here it may be getting a little bit weirder, right? But this is kind of just loading the music and such. And another good thing is, we're doing the same block of code over and over again, so hopefully through repetition that'll help you to kind of remember it too. So I think actually I'm just going to stop for today, and I'm going to give you the rest of the time to kind of start getting your stuff together. Start thinking about what you want the game to be about, what you want to have happen, what kind of goal is the character going to have, what are they going to try to do. Then get out there and start making that stuff. Get out there and get your music. Get out there and get your sound effects. And then next week we can kind of hit the ground running. Get your start page and your dead page kind of working and make sure all the code's working and such. And then basically just start building the assets that you're going to need for next week. So sound effects, music, get the idea of your game a little more solidified, and make sure you kind of have exactly in mind what you want it to do. Just know that really what I'm going to be able to show you is how to have a character move depending on the accelerometer on the phone, and how to detect hit detection.
Next week?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the things. So I mean, my point of saying that is like, you don't want to go, okay, well I want my game, to have logins and be able to track stats and all. No. Like that's where, like studios of 40 people make that kind of stuff. And that we wouldn't have enough time to go through all that. So this is just a simple game where you're controlling someone with an accelerometer and you're having them do something. And what that something is, that's up to you.
So on the on Brightspace, it says week 6 and 7 whatever meter game.
Mm-hmm.
What areas do we learn today? Like, so I know what to put on my project for next week. Like, so we learned all the way through 6.
We did 2. We didn't really do 1 yet.
Okay.
That's next week. We did 2. We did 3. We did 4. We did not do 5. But the score counter, that might not even work for your game. It all just depends on if you would need one. In my game, I'm going to have a score counter, but you may not. It just depends on how your game's played out. Oh, fun. I actually probably should show this to you guys now. Let's see, we did a little bit of 7, and then 8 we haven't done. Yeah, so basically kind of like 2 through 7-ish.
Perfect. Okay,
So the font, yeah, this is real easy, so this won't take very long. So let's say I run this on someone's, well, yeah, I think you do need to do this for the app too. Maybe, actually I haven't really tested that. Doesn't matter, because this is kind of an important thing to know anyways. So the problem is, like, sometimes you'll use a font that's only on your computer, and this works for all the projects we've done. So sometimes you'll do something, it looks great, you love the font on your computer, you throw it up online, people go to it, and it's a totally different font. It's because you didn't embed the font. You didn't embed the font inside of either the HTML file and the JavaScript stuff or the Swift. So to do that, it's pretty easy. And you'll want to make sure you do this just so the right font is used. So basically in everything I did, I used traditional Arabic, I think. Yep. So I'm going to embed that font so no matter what computer it's on, no matter what device it's on, no matter what website, whatever it's being loaded on, it'll reuse the correct font. So you click on one of this and then you just hit embed. It's a little embed button. It's right underneath the font dropdown. And then it comes up. You don't have to worry about a name. You can just keep that, whatever name it gives you. But the thing that's important is, okay, what type of characters in that font are you going to embed? You could say all. So that's numbers, exclamation points, periods, commas, ampersands, and ABC3, A to Z, all that stuff. But here it's like, well, I know I'm doing uppercase letters. I know I'm doing lowercase letters. I'm probably going to have numbers because I'm going to have the score counter. But I don't know if I did. I don't think I did any punctuation. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have any punctuation. So I wouldn't embed that. So uppercase, lowercase, numerals. If I want, I can, embed all the different types of languages that this font has, which no, I'm not going to deal with that. The thing is, you don't want to embed everything because then you're just making your file size unnecessarily bigger. You just check what you want and that's it, and then you hit OK. And congratulations, you just did it. It's not hard at all, really. So now whenever you hit Control Enter, whenever you export this out to a phone, whenever you publish it basically somewhere, that font will follow your project. So it'll always use the correct font. And this is one of those things where you're like, okay, whatever, not a big deal. But then you upload your project, you show someone, it comes up and you're like, ah, crap, that doesn't look anything like it should. Fonts are kind of a big deal. And it gets blatantly obvious when you don't do it right. All right, so like I said, next week, come with an idea basically solidified on what you want the game to do. Also come with all your assets, come with all your sound effects, all your music, and come with your character built, the things he's going to have to avoid, whatever. Just so you know, with mine, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create spikes here on the right side, left side, down here, and up top. And then I'm going to create them into movie clips, and then I'm going to create the character, make him a movie clip, and then just say, if these two movie clips touch, he died. And then I'll have the little square that he's trying to get, and make that a movie clip, and if my character and the square movie clip touch, then okay, you just got a point. So it's really that simple.
So would you suggest that
she laughs?
we would animate
I was laughing at Adam.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm like, I don't see the humor there, but okay. What were you saying?
So would we animate the assets in the game, or would we like make them outside and then?
Whatever you want to do.
But it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if you wanted to draw something in like Illustrator and bring it in, that's fine.
Mm.
All the animating though will be done in Animate. But creating your stuff, if you want to hand draw some of this stuff, yeah, that's totally fine. Do it in Illustrator. You can bring it over.
It's
'Cause-
usually so hot here, and
I know it feels amazing in here.
no, it's freezing.
It's like 60 degrees and I love it.
wear like less in this class so that I'm not sweating my ass off when I'm asleep.
Any questions?
I have a question on the code at the end.
Okay. Over here.
So
Yeah.
I was paying attention and then I blacked out.
Okay.
Not gonna lie. But so where it says mouse event click for both try again and start over.
Yeah.
So try again and start over, are those just made up or are those
Like right here?
yeah, do they have to be written a certain way? Or?
Nope, this is the name of the function. So I could say J. But the thing is, I would need to make sure that the function over here is called J.
But that has nothing to do with what's actually on like the animation.
Nope, has nothing to do with what's on the timeline. This is all code.
Okay.
This is the function that's going to be ran, and then it's the name of the function right here.
Alright.
So yeah, this is not referring to anything on the timeline.
Alright, that was my only question.
Cool.
Ninja.
All right, so I'm going to stop broadcasting now. You guys know what you got to do. Good luck. Behave.
Can I make my, okay, you know how like in a game, you, instead of using like a figure, like someone, like you could use like your mouse, or like make it into something to click on.
You alright?
Cause mine's gonna be like a balloon popping game.
Now, the point of this game is the character will be controlled by the accelerometer. So that's like,
Oh,
if I'm holding my phone like this and I want him to move forward, I tilt it. So Flash will actually detect the tilting in your phone and make the character do something according to it. Yeah,
so yeah, you can't like.
yeah. So this game is not going to be like using the mouse at all. So it's all going to be based on, actually, I'm just going to stop.